Hello and welcome to Autonomous World News. I'm Phoenix, and for this video I've got an interview with someone living in Lebanon, where, like many places around the world, revolution is in the air and in the streets. Joining me on the board is my source, Mohammed. Let's get right down to it. How did all this start?
You know how the revolution started? Some people say it started because of the WhatsApp. No, that's not true. The WhatsApp was the peak. They wanted to put more tax even in the WhatsApp. They have put taxes in everything, in everything, you know? And the WhatsApp was just the spark for the revolution, because there are a lot of things, like there are a lot of big factories, big hotels, big resorts in the beaches, and they are all belong to the politicians and they don't pay taxes. You know, there are some very, very rich people in Lebanon. They don't pay taxes. It's only the poor people. The taxes that go to the government is from the bread, from the food, from everything that the poor people consume. But the rich people, they do not pay. You know why? Because these rich people are the politicians, and the others are their friends, their cousins, their families. These are the rich people in Lebanon. If we want to create a project, like want to build a bridge, you know, they just steal the money. The one who built the bridge is the cousin or the friend of one of the politicians. There is a lot of corruption. If you don't belong to, if you are not a cousin or a friend of the politician, you can just go pay bribe, and that's it. You know, they have showed a lot of corruption even in the port. A lot of containers come to Lebanon. They don't pay taxes. They go directly to the market. There is no competition because some people, they pay taxes, so they have to sell their products, competing with people with the same product, but they don't pay tax. So they pay it with less money. They sell it with less money. So this have destroyed our economy. Our currency rate decreased 25%, which this is really a lot. And now we can't take our money out of the banks. The banks are closed. They are in strike, and no money in the ATMs. And the people are just like very worried. Like, I'm also worried for my money, all the money I was working for. And some people, they have been working since ages to have this money in the banks, and now they lost 25% of them, and the bank is not giving money because there is no cash in the market. So it's getting really worse. Until today, we had gas in the stations. In the past 2 weeks, we had only little gas in the stations, and that's why the gas stations, they were rising up the price of the gas. So it's really in a very bad situation. And now some journalists, they started to show to public some of the corruption files. They are now stealing money in public, you know, like they no longer fear judgment, because even the judges in Lebanon, they are appointed by the politicians. So how can these judges judge the politicians if they were appointed by them? It's really horrible. And now the people, they fed up and they're saying we have nothing to lose. So that's why you are seeing people everywhere in the street. When you go to the street, you will see the father, the mother going with their children. Old people, they are motivating the new generation that you should rebel, else you will live in the same way that we lived in the Civil War. They want to show their children that they can make the change now, because we thought that this is gonna change after the Civil War, but the situation is still the same. Same leaders, same problems, same crisis, same corruption, same infrastructure. Nothing has changed. Never, nothing at all. Nothing, believe me. I'm really not exaggerating. If you want to tell me what have changed in Lebanon between the Civil War and now, I can count them in fingers, because they're very, very little. Because, you know, the head of the militias who led the Civil War, they are ruling the country now. They are everywhere in the government. And that's why the old generation, they want to change. Plus, the university people, the people in our age, the adults and young adults, they are also joining, because all the people who graduate from the university, they are going abroad. They no longer have the opportunity and jobs to work in Lebanon. If they find a job, it's very, very cheap, like with $500, $600 per month. And you pay half of them as taxes, and you're left with nothing. And that's why the young generation, they believe in the change. Now, like it has facilitated, like Facebook, social media has facilitated all these things to show them how the civil war was before, And when you show them more pictures, more videos, they rebel more. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people, they still want these politicians. Especially, we blame the young people because they are educated people. They go to the university. They are living in very, very, very poor situations. They don't have jobs. They don't have anything at all. But they still didn't rebel because of their leaders. They want to rebel from inside them, but they can't because the ideology that they have been raised on says that you shouldn't join. They believe if we want to change, this means like it's an insult for their leader.
Can you explain a bit more what you mean when you say ideology?
The word ideology means a lot in Lebanon. When I say ideology, it's religious ideologies. And when we say religion, it's something big in the country, like especially Islamic ideologies, or also the Christians, some of the Christians, they believe in their leaders. Like, for example, Hezbollah and Amal, they didn't join the people because their leader told them, if you join this revolution, this revolution is supported by Israel and the United States. They will come and kill us as Hezbollah and Amal. And that's bullshit. And that's why, I don't know if you saw it, a lot of people from Hezbollah went to the downtown of Beirut and started savagely hitting the people, the protesters there, and they destroyed all their tents. And the police and the army were just looking at them. They did nothing because they all belong to the politicians. But the people, they said, we will not give up. That it's very peaceful demonstrations. I don't know if you're following how nice it is. The people go there, they listen to some nice music that is related to the revolution, and they also have some part of music just to attract more people. They can just go have fun. We just want to show the whole world how peaceful we are, how peaceful our revolution is, and how peaceful the change can be. But unfortunately, our politicians are taking advantage of this, and they think we are weak. We are not angry yet. Like, what do you mean? How should we be angry just when we start destroying the public institutions and private buildings? When we start burning cars? Is this the way that shows that we are angry? This is what you want us to do? You want us to put us in a clash with the army and the police just to show you that we are angry? Burning tires didn't happen since like 3 weeks because they only did it in the first week, and after that they put gravels and big stones on the highways. But it only happened because the people were really angry and they wanted to show their madness. They wanted to show how mad they are. They burned tires. I'm fighting against this because when we are burning fires, like we are just burning ourselves. The environment is really a red line for me. But when the protesters see the fires burning, they see the smoke, it gives them more motivation, So sometimes, okay, just guys do it because they feel more energy, especially the young people. And so, yeah, but we are working on this now. We are gathering people. We are getting professors from universities talking to the people how to do everything in a peaceful way. What is the right way to do it? So we are really managing it. It's no longer spontaneous movements. Now it's managed in a way, not completely, but this is something very important to tell people what a revolution is and how to rebel, just to keep it peaceful and keep the right with us, because we are trying not to give the right for the politicians to blame us doing something. And that's what's really fucking them. They can't find something to blame their protest, that hey, now you are doing this wrong and we should use force against you. No, we are not.
So then what does peaceful revolution look like in Lebanon?
It's day 28 or 29 today, and we are starting with the second month. The government stepped down. That was something good. Now we are left with the president and the parliament. We're saying now we need a technocratic government with a very small amount of ministers, and we don't want you to be represented there. The president asked us, why you don't have a leader? We don't want to have a leader because we, the Lebanese people, we lost the trust in any person. We only want now a technocratic government with only expertise away from the politicians. Why do you need a leader? That's our demands. Just end it. We don't want to negotiate. You lost that legitimacy, you know? We no longer trust you. You are not the politicians that we want anymore. They lost our trust, and that's why we are not demanding from them. We don't want to negotiate with them, and we don't want them to make our demands come true. Go away.
Would you mind to elaborate a bit more on what you mean when you say a technocratic government?
You know, there is 20 ministers, and some of the ministers, they are really just fake. They don't need them. Our foreign affairs minister, he's an engineer. The minister of health, he's a lawyer. Like, no one is in the right place. You can tell me, yeah, but they have a lot of counselors around them. They can ask, but you are the minister. How can you have no idea about what you're doing? For example, I know that you know nothing about engineering. Imagine I tell you, do you want to be a civil engineer? Just come work in my company. You can be a civil engineer. How can you be effective and professional in your work if you are working in a different field? You know, we need a doctor to be the minister of health. We need an engineer to be the minister of power, for example. We want new expertise, only expertise to come. We're saying now we need a technocrat government with a very small amount of ministers. 10, 12 maximum is enough to rule 4 million people for a small country like Lebanon. We really don't want to pay a lot of money for these politicians anymore.
And so how is the current Lebanon government responding to this demand for a technocracy?
You know, all the parties now, they want Hariri to go back and form the government. And the president was adding that no technocrat government, we will have a government that also politicians are there. Wow. But Hariri is saying, if you want me to go back, I want to form it as I want. None of the parties have the right to impose somebody on me. But the people on the street are saying, hey, what are you guys negotiating? You're just wasting time. We said, you know, because our motto now, like hashtag, all of them means all of them. We don't even want him. This person also have been a prime minister for several times, and he did nothing. And you know, this government, like I had an interview with the right hand of the biggest party in Lebanon, the party that belongs to the president, you know. This party, they are the majority in the parliament and also in the government. So they can take the decision that they want, whatever decision, because they have a big coalition in the country. Hezbollah and Amal, they support them. I told him, Your Excellency, like I have a simple, small question. I'm coming here to give you the confidence again, the trust that you can represent me again. And I'm sure there are a lot of people here agree with me. So if you please answer my question, we will be with you. What did you do to Lebanon? Give me one small achievement that your party has done since 2005 when you came to the government. Just give me one, please, and we will give you our trust again. You know? And he was answering something from the space, and he was, yeah, give us more time. What the fuck? What other time do you want? Because this is the piece of shit. You guys have done completely nothing since 2005 until today. How are you asking for more opportunities? How? He was just like, yeah, but Hariri didn't steal. I'm not asking you if he stole or not. Just answer my question. And also the other person who asked just said, my question is the same. Please answer his question. We do not have electricity. You know, we are in the 21st century, right? You know this. We do not have electricity. We do not have drinking water. We don't have good infrastructure. We only have one airport. We do not have public transportation here. We do not have internet. We have nothing. I'm 25 years old. I don't have insurance. If I want to go to the hospital, I have to pay everything I've gained for. We don't have good public health. Somebody said, we pay for the bed that we die on. When I say we have nothing, I mean it, nothing. It's not only me, it's every single person you go ask in the street. We have nothing in this country. So when we talk about the demands, like the people were asking a lot, we need electricity, we need water, we need this and that. And these things cannot happen. Like the country can't handle anymore. And these politicians, they should know that there should be a person that the revolution people, the protesters, should agree on. Because if they chose somebody from them or somebody has their ideology, we will definitely go back to the street and say, no, our only court is the street. They do something wrong, we go back to the street to put them down, whoever he is. And that's why now they are obliged to choose a person that has a good reputation in Lebanon. I don't know, a university professor, a university dean, somebody that is known in Lebanon, that he doesn't belong to these parties and he's known for his good CV, for good work in the past. And this person, when he's elected as a prime minister, he goes, sits with himself, with his counselors, and choose 10 to 12 ministers to rule the country for a short period, because the first thing that these people should do, these ministers, form a new modern election system not related to religion, because we are always voting based on our religion. We want something modern that represents everybody. Maybe they will all be Christians, maybe 90% of them will be Sunni or Shia or whatever. We want to vote for people, for the work of the people, for their for experience. We don't want to vote for their background or their religion or whatever. The streets movement will not accept that.
So this all seems really exciting, like a lot of change is happening really fast. Could you tell me, in your experience, what has changed really between a year ago and today?
You couldn't imagine last year a Sunni and a Shia, two-person with a Christian, just sitting together having a talk about the future of Lebanon. This didn't happen before. It's, sometimes I got tears in Beirut when I see these people sitting together, imagining Lebanon, how it's gonna be in a few years. If you look at Tripoli is the city that was known for extremism, for Islamism, and now, like, techno music every night. And people are just dancing like crazy, just to show that no, Tripoli is not like this. Tripoli is the city of fun. Tripoli is the city of the people they want to live. And now the people in Tripoli, they say, if you tell them, oh, it's happy, we are happy now to see the other Tripoli, the other side of you, they get angry. They say, no, this is not the other side of us. It's the right side of us. And that's how we were before. But the media couldn't show the right image of us. They were always using the bad words and always using the bad side of Tripoli. If you ask me 1 year ago, I would tell you, yeah, privatize everything, because everything is being stolen in the government. But now, no, we believe that we can make a change. The change is happening and everything should go back to the country. And they rule this. We don't want investors to come take 90% of the profit and give 10% for the people.
Yes.
The people are against capitalism now because it's really bad. People, they go with the spray and they start writing everywhere on the roads, and you could see it everywhere. Kill capitalism, kill these a lot of money. These money are ours. We want our money back. How did these capitalist people get their money? Why are we so poor and they are so rich? We want to know this. But this doesn't mean that they want a communist regime. The people are asking they are not demanding something special. The only thing they want, their rights. Nothing more than this. Nothing. They don't want luxury. Just imagine people asking for electricity, for water, for infrastructure. When you are asking about these demands, you don't care whether it's capitalism or communism or socialism. Just give me my right. Some people ask me, yeah, but why are you so excited for this? Why do you really need all these things? These people who ask me, first, they never traveled before. And I think maybe I was lucky or fortunate that I've traveled. I've seen what a train is, because a lot of people, they hear about the train in Lebanon, and they hear about what a tram, what public transportation, but they don't know what it really is. If you haven't experienced something, it's not like what you think about it. But I've experienced what a good transportation system can be, and that's why we are so excited that this should happen in our country. There are trains connecting Berlin with Switzerland, which is very far areas. Why this doesn't happen in 300 kilometers in this small, tiny country? I always imagine when I go to Beirut at night or when I come really drunk from Beirut at 4, driving to the Bekaa Valley through the mountain. I always say, even when I'm really drunk, I think about this. Why am I just in the train now, going from Beirut to Shura and then take the tram from the Shura to my house? This, I mean, we don't even need a train. Maybe a tram is enough to connect the north and the south.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Mohammed. I hope the best for you. Be safe, and please don't drink and drive. Try to get a designated driver if you can, because obviously the revolution needs people like you. So everyone, I'd like to know from you, what do you think of having a technocratic government where you live? Let me know in the comments. If you're dealing with revolutionary struggle in your area, reach out. Maybe we can do an interview also. In the meantime, I'm still working on a massive report that started as being about Haiti, but now it's about historical colonialism, globally institutionalized racism, the United Nations, and more. It'll be quite in-depth, and I'm looking forward to being able to share my work with everyone. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. I had to cut down this interview from over 50 minutes long so that I could more easily illustrate it, and hopefully hold more attention, but I tried to keep all the important bits. Still, I always suggest you investigate these things for yourself, and thoroughly. You can support my work on Patreon, and speaking of which, I want to give a major thank you to the patrons I have. People like Capable, Albert, and Kilgore Trout. Also Kaylin, thank you. Share the story of revolution in Lebanon with your friends. Please do the things that make YouTube's algorithm like me a little more by hitting the like button and hitting the bell maybe? Commenting? Anyway, be safe, stay dangerous, and as always, look out for each other.